Yo, what is going on guys? Godrekton here today, bringing you a new Best Renekton review video. In this video, we are back with YouXiaoYou, and we're going to be watching a game of his which was taken from the Chinese super server. But first and foremost, let's just kind of like explain what happened within the last video. So within the last video, we checked out him playing against Rumble. There was a lot of things that I learned. There's a lot of like great things that kind of happened like within the game. A lot of really interesting takeaways and philosophies that I could share with you guys. And being that you guys really enjoyed the video style and just me making like a video review on another Renekton player, and like you guys just like simply enjoyed that, I really want to do more of them, and I want to make it like a consistent series. So I might make two of these a week because I really enjoy it in terms of like my own development as a player. I love being able to watch other Renekton mains play the game. I love being able to like just spectate what they do, what I'm doing differently. Like I just love explaining and watching, right? So I'm gonna try and make at least two of these a week. And I am not just only gonna do about Xiaoyu, but I am gonna like touch on many other different Renekton players because quite frankly, there's quite a lot of them that are really good, and there's a lot of them out there that are also like very good to watch as well. So in terms of like getting through Renekton players, I will be getting through them one by one. And obviously, I will make it a frequent series. And if you guys continue liking the videos, maybe I'll make even more of them too. But in terms of this video, we are now looking at YouXiaoYou. Here is his account. So from the last time we checked, he was like 420 LP or something like that, around that. He hasn't played in 4 days, but he did stream a couple days ago as I'm making this on the 20th. So as I went into his VOD here, which I will link again in the description below, he streamed a few games. He was playing on the Super server mainly. I believe he's currently like around Masters Grandmaster Elo as this game's taken, or at least we're about to find out at least anyways. And within this game, he plays against a Quinn. Quinn is one of Renekton's hardest matchups, or at least in most people's eyes. For me personally, I don't think it's really the hardest matchup for Renekton. However, I do think that it can be a bit annoying, and for the average Renekton player that just doesn't know how to properly play him at a really high mechanical level, or even like at a good understanding of how to play a lane against a ranged champion, it can be quite tricky and difficult. And that's why in this video, I do want to show you guys how the best Renekton in China plays against a Quinn. So firstly, there's not much else to really talk about because I don't really have anything to see here. But we'll just get straight into the VOD this time. So we're going to go in here and just start watching the game. So first things first, he has a Nidalee on his team. He is Renekton. He's going double adaptive. He's going second wind. He has a pretty good page like sustain and just kind of have a lot of damage for his jungle to do something or two. So taking press the attack means that into champions like a Quinn or any ranged champion, you're looking for really fast bursty trades, and Renekton has a really insane trading pattern when it comes to this. Renekton can just EQ, auto W, auto E. In a Quinn lane, it can be a bit difficult sometimes, so you can just EQ W. You can time it on the knockback, so you get all your damage off and then just do consistent damage. And when you have a Nidalee too, who's coming to lane, if you get that press the attack proc off too, it is going to allow Nidalee to do it from like 9 to 12% additional bonus damage too from the PT exposure. So overall, it's really worth rune to take when you're playing with these high pressure junglers and ones that just want to permagank as well. And Renekton Nidalee is probably like one of the strongest combos in the entire game. So being able to abuse this setup effectively is also going to matter a lot. But if we continue here, let's see if anything changes, because he's not like fully complete champ selector. I can skip a little bit, I guess. Doesn't look like he's changing runes. As for myself, I've started like completely avoiding tenacity from now on, and even unflinching. With the changes that they did before the, I think around the durability patch, they did this, or a little bit after maybe, like the start of the split 2. I was trying to do this setup, but they greatly nerfed them together, and I think going both these days is pretty int, when you could be going another rune that at least guarantees you an extra plating. So like, you know, every plating is like 175 gold, right? So being able to get that plating with a demolish can help you back for a better power spike, and in the lanes where like you want to get a pickaxe, or even finish off with a dirk, it is going to make for a gigantic, you know, swing of gold when you are snowballing. Or even if you're in those, like, even matchups. Just getting that playing after you chunk out your enemy can be really gigantic. And because Renekton's so good at that in the first place, it does make it very profitable to take as a rune. And in terms of the alacrity, Renekton always felt really good with attack speed. And I would always take an attack speed shard in my minor runes over here. But because like I'm not really going bulk much, I am kind of missing that attack speed. So me being able to get like the alacrity here is pretty good. Like I can get over, 1.0 attack speed. My auto attacks feel really fluid. I can build up a lot of fury. I have a lot of dueling stats because of that too. So all in all, it's like a really good offensive rune, and being that Renekton is a very offensive champion, it's kind of a no-brainer not to take that. But let's get into the game. So it seems like he's playing on a Diamond Masters account. Probably not the highest elo game, but it's all I can like really find that is of the Quinn matchup. And I think no matter what elo it is, at least if it's like Diamond Plus towards Masters, it is gonna like at least be, pretty good. And considering that he's playing on the Chinese Super server as well, a lot of these players are probably Challenger on the many other like 20 odd Chinese servers that there are. So what you are watching is still really relatively high elo and very, high mechanical gameplay. So don't think that it isn't. In fact, it could be... he's playing with 90 ping here. Maybe I'm wrong right now. I'm not too sure. If any of you guys speak Chinese and you understand what server he's playing on right now, I'm highly interested in that. I know he plays on like very different like servers, so I don't know which one this is, but again, it's like a Chinese server in relatively, good elo, so it should be interesting. I'm not sure what any of this means. It could be a bit minor. It could be a spyware program for all I know, so not really sure. But in this game, he's playing against Fleet Footwork Quinn with Ghost. Pretty annoying setup. I've played against my fair share of Fleet Footwork Quinns, so Quinn can be very mobile, very annoying, but she does lose out on the damage, not taking a press the attack, which I think is definitely better into a Renekton lane, a lane where you want to punish him and like bully him really hard. Going Fleet Footwork just simply means you're playing to coast and you're playing just to like survive, right? When in reality you should be playing really aggressive and trying to punish the Renekton. Maybe he's on like an alt account. Maybe this is someone else's account, because look at his settings right now. He's literally changing everything possible, and I think he is known to kind of like boost accounts a little bit. So what you're seeing here is kind of like maybe some Smurf gameplay of a Master Zelo, whatever account this is. Because it's China too, I believe a lot of people want to like, get their accounts boosted so they can play on Super Server, because if you have like Diamond or higher, you can play on the Super Server, meaning that when you get this account, everyone that's in Silver or Bronze is all like anywhere from Diamond 2 plus like players, so I won't be surprised if it's like some kind of like other server. Let me put some sound on here. So to explain a bit more about this matchup, he took Ignite as well. So for me, I love taking Exhaust because Exhaust is a really good way to destroy these champions. And in my guide video that I'm doing at the moment, or like my matchup guide video with like a bunch of tips and all that for every matchup, I will be advocating this and I will be explaining why it's a lot better. But essentially, if you can just lock someone down, like, completely, damage reduce all the damage they're going to be dealing to you, on top of like making them easier to gank as well, taking a summoner's like Ghost or having like, anything else as well. Even without Ghost, like a Teleport or Ignite, if you put that Exhaust on someone, they could never move. So these matchups like Vayne Quinn, they become relatively free low if you take these summoners. So I highly recommend that too, and I think it's super good. You can take Ignite, however. I was taking Ignite for the longest time, and I don't think that's still bad to do, but personally, I just go for something like an Exhaust because it's relatively like great for utility, and throughout the game too, you can have a lot of uses for that as well, in terms of being able to use it. You can use it just simply on, like, in team fights. You can use it on, like, in lane. But you can use it defensively to escape as well. Like, it's just such a good rune as well. And it really tilts the hell out of people too. So, what's there not to like about that, Also, in the next video, I think I will try to, like, get the client for YouXiaoYou, which is the Chinese streamer site I'm using. I probably said it wrong. Or Korean. I'm not too sure. I believe it's maybe Korean. Not sure. But apparently it can be like 1080p if I do it from there. So next time I'll do that. I also increased my rendering quality, so the video should come out better too, guys. So I hope you guys are really looking forward to the better quality as well throughout my videos. So level 1, you can take either Q, you can sit in bush, leech XP, or you can just take like E-Start. E-Start is very risky because in a matchup like a Fleet Footwork, she can just kite you. And going for that level 2 all-in is a lot harder than it looks. It can probably work against like a lot of brain-dead Quinn players and lower elo, but in this elo, most typically you just want to like, kind of keep health. Level 1, YouXiaoYou should be keeping a lot more health. you kind of just give up wave, you let her push. Now, there are ways where you can rush for level 2 before her, but her having E will always mean that she gets to disengage. Now, while he is getting poked into Oblivion, he does have a D shield here and a second wind. So, look at his health bar right now. You see it increasing? Like, it increases so massively, and Renekton's health regen is also pretty good. So right then he was like 400 health, and now he's like 430 then. Wow. He actually nearly got that as well, crazily enough. Let's go back to that, because I was kind of talking. So E-Star, he does go for the E-Star, Ignite, Auto. He could have E'd and then maybe Flash Auto, but Quinn could possibly live on a sliver of health. So again, like I explained in the last video, YouXiaoYou likes to take, you know, calculated, like, you know, trades, right? He's got a low. She's in literally, like, she's in lethal right now to die. So if he gets level 2 here, he can just flash. He has Empowered W ready on the get-go. He's level 3 though. She does have potion too. YouXiaoYou's gonna opt to just like chilling. Can take the Q instead now just to like clean up the wave. It's also a gigantic wave, so if he did like try to go in, he would end up just nuking all his own health. Takes Q here. He's really good at farming like in the tower as well. Like you saw with like that E then. It was really good. The way he did it. Q that wave. W that. Auto low one. He kind of missed that one. So Quinn backed already. This is not the best situation for Renekton here. However, it doesn't really like matter if like Millie can path top. It does leave him in like a really awkward situation though, because being that you just got pushed in and your laner got to recall on a cannon wave, she can come back with a cloth armor, a boots, a longsword. She might go boots to be honest and go like attack speed, but I'm not sure what Quinn will opt into here, like on this patch. He's taking her time. YouXiaoYou gets to end up like pushing back. What did Quinn buy? She started cool. Yeah, I think she bought a dagger there. It was dagger, right? Yeah, dagger, refillable. He got wave push, luckily. Renekton's really good at pushing the wave in. He gets a good recall here, so he can just buy like boots, longsword, even maybe a control ward if he wanted to. Instead, he actually opts to go cloth armor refillable, which is pretty smart here because if you can get these plated steel caps into a matchup like this, your laner won't be really doing any damage to you, and I do recommend that if you are playing into Quinn, that you do go for the plated steel caps. Because the damage reduction, like 12% damage reduction from auto attacks is gigantic, by the way. And for these champions that are rushing attack speed early, like a dagger, it's going to cut even more damage out from what they're actually doing to you. And being that you want moon speed to like stay on top of them and also just like make sure they can't even get away from you, it's like really good. And having the press the attack and also your default damage, like your base damage, you can kind of get by off of it. And even like level 6 as well, which is your main power spike here. So the main win condition YouXiaoYou's looking for right now is getting his boots, you know, going for like some decent trades. A bit greedy there though, if you ask me. Very greedy. Also, he's playing with the best chroma. Have to point out that. But yeah, you get level 6 and then like you just like try to dash behind her. So if she plays like this, by the way, she is griefing. So next time like Mighty would come up or even his, he could go for like a trade on her and get a low. So now that she has no vault, he might look for it. Seems like he's playing really safe though. I would have at least went in for a trade because I'd get a bit frustrated. Yeah, as I was saying though, you can double dash behind the Quinn and end up behind her, and then like if you're fast enough and like you know, you play it properly, you could also flash as well. You go like behind her, she vaults into this direction, and you can cut her off, and she has nowhere to run. So most of the time, if Quinn vaults and you're playing that way, you always want to make sure you dash behind her if you know it's on cooldown, or you can like time it well to like end up behind her, and then she has nowhere to go. Because if she does vault, she's vaulting on your side of the map. So that means you can get like a really easy kill onto this champion as well. And because she's really squishy and has no defensive abilities, it leaves in a really horrible situation. Lily's path in top here, and she's completely pushed in right now. He buffers a W on the vault. Really well played from YouXiaoYou. Really well played. He could be playing on Super Server by that. I don't know. I have to point that out. Quinn tried to ghost. He's not really cutting it off the best, but he wants level 6, but he's not trying to get it. Like, he can't really get it here, I don't think. Unless he hit the minion. Really awkward. I think the way he played that was a bit awkward, in my opinion. I want to explain why too. So, he gets the empowered W. Let's see how he traded in the first place. So, he E's onto that. He uses E. Oh, shit. Oops. I did this too often. So, to explain real quickly, he E's like this minion, which he does quite a lot, and I think it's a bit like not the best idea, because you have Nidalee coming top, right? So if you're wasting your E like this, like you have no way just to jump on the Quinn instantly, and the whole fight was stalled out in the first place because Quinn could ghost and then run away. So using your dashes here is probably not the best. Like, look, even if he didn't use it, Quinn would still go for this play, and he still walked up and like press W. So you got the empower W. He could then have dashes, like, not even now, but like, he could just dash from this cannon, go this way. Nidalee could walk topside, and then she's completely shut off. And then they could just both crowd her. Even this, right, the way he moves here instead of this way. Like, if you're playing this scenario where you're, like, lane is trying to escape, you want to cut them off, like, cut the path off here. Walk this way, like, look, walk this way, Quinn has to walk here. Now, Kane is coming, but again, you can keep her in place for Nidalee to come. He has his W timing up. Overall, though, I think they took too long, and the way it was played was just awkward, in my opinion. Doesn't get power W either. But potentially, you could argue that maybe you could die there, but I don't know. Regardless, Quinn got chunked. Even if you don't get the kill here, it's not the end of the world, because Quinn has to back. Quinn cannot stay. She is 6, however, so she can get to lane fast enough. So Renekton's going to quickly get the Demolish proc here, start walking out, going towards a tri-bush, has to be careful to Kane. He now has got gold for plated steel caps. Now, this is where the matchup also becomes a lot more like interesting. In my opinion, the Quinn matchup was never hard about the lane, but what was actually hard was the fact she could roam, right? And if you're in Elos, like, even like Masters ED West, right? Quinn players will just try to roam any way they can. And even on the champion, Quinn's whole design is to roam and pick people off. She builds this static shiv right here. She will try to, like, completely destroy the wave and roam. It's your job to always ping constantly where she is. Because as soon as you don't do that, Quinn's going to get killed. She's going to snowball her team. And you're just simply going to fall off too. And you, at all costs, cannot make that happen. So, for the love of God, always ping where Quinn is. As soon as she's on the map, ping anywhere. Like, ping your bot lane here, anywhere, right? Because they need to know. They're going to be blind and not see what's going on. So, it's in your job to do that as well. If you're trying to, like, make sure Quinn gets 0 opportunities and you can shove in wave and get resources that way. Let's go back to instead of me waffling. Oops. So Nidalee's coming. He probably wants to engage. EQs. It's okay. He has freeze still. He has flash. Look, he's looking for the W flash here. RQ. He cuts off. This is what you should be doing. You cut off in this direction from your ranged opponent so they have nowhere to run. So these like little micro things too are going to make a big difference if you don't one-shot there. Yeah, right now he's just crashing wave. He has 4 seconds before she spawns. Can probably get another plating. Rumble died mid lane. Goes to play it. Let's just turn this up a little bit more. There we go. His team's doing pretty good. Quinn came back to lane. He didn't get his base, however. He also did buy pickaxe. I believe he's going to go like a Stridebreaker this game. Stridebreaker would be very good. Like, the beauty in like these bruiser items is that Quinn, like, you know, it's an absolute nightmare for Quinn because Stridebreaker just slows massively. You then have 2 dashes, you have your stun, and then by the time, like, you know, everything's like coming off cooldown, you have your Stridebreaker again. You have your whole combo again, right? So it's really a big nightmare for her. And even the fact you have attack speed, you have like a phage on hit where like you would gain moon speed every time you hit something. So it's just really gigantic. By phage, I mean the rage passive, where you'd like get moon speed hitting things. which is like what it used to be. You should go for more EQs, but you see, the way he plays is so different from like your average Renekton player. He's playing with barely any risks. Like, there are some slight mistakes, right? Human error. But his whole philosophy is literally playing for certainties. And it's crazy, right? Like, he's not playing like he has like fucking like 10 sec, like, let's say like 10 minutes to do something. Like, he doesn't play like an absolute madman. Like, he's confident that he's like, if he gets into the mid game, he has a role. He knows what to do. And that's what Renekton should be about on the higher level of things. Like, you don't need to play like a psychopath. You just need to enable your team. As long as you don't in your laner and you're just playing safe and you're playing for these like power spikes, you're gonna be a gigantic threat in the fights. People might think that you're getting outscaled, but in reality, you're actually very, very strong. And you're very capable of also carrying the games alone just off that like mindset. But look at his farm too. I've seen people have like 40 CS at 10 minutes into Quinn, and it's crazy. And they'll have like 3 deaths on top of that. And then you have YouXiaoYou here chilling with like nearly perfect CS at 10 minutes into Quinn. Like, I won't lie, it's definitely not how I would play the matchup. I've personally learned to play like very solo oriented towards this lane, but I guess like in the higher echelon of the game, or like in an elo where, you know, you can utilize a jungler, this is basically the playstyle you can play, so it's not like the worst either. Because there definitely are some games where you can't just force and play like a madman, like I would, you know, with exhaust. It definitely depends on the game and what you're against. The fact that you have a Kayn is like, they can 2v2 it, and he doesn't need to be scared too much because Renekton can just one-shot the Kayn early. So yeah. He tries to stop back here. You see what I mean about the played still caps though? He barely takes damage, and right now he's just going to hit minions, build up Fury, he's going to Q the wave, get all of his health back. Like, he really doesn't lose anything from like that thing. He just delays Quinn from like getting a reset anywhere. As you see too, Renekton pushes in the wave. He now like tries to play around Nidalee, goes out of vision for a second, pretending like he warded. Rumble's coming towards top lane. They have a timer here to like dive. They bait out the Quinn ghost, and now they leave. Quinn's really trying though, isn't she? Rumble's there. That rumble sound. So they actually swap lanes here too, which is interesting. I think Rumble would have maybe been better, like possibly. I'm not sure what the mid lane situation is. They also do have Graves mid. I mean, he's 0-2. Why would they sacrifice Rumble being top here when he could have just came mid and like potentially had a pick as well on the like on them when they're all hanging around mid? Not sure. Regardless, it's not the worst. Rumble into Renekton is also pretty good. As we learned in the last game, it's definitely pretty hard. YouXiaoYou now goes for the all-in. Pops his ult, really big resource there on Rumble's side, because it can't. Because he ulted, he can't defend against the tower dive if Renekton tries to pull that off. Quinn's back already. You have to always watch where Quinn is on the map, like at all times before you like go for these fights. He went on Rumble there too because Quinn was already mid and showed, so he had a timer to go in. If you're fed enough too, you can just force this fight, but it is very like hard. Okay, pretty nice. Got the kill, really big on the Rumble. I mean, Rumble's also kind of behind. Guess they are mid lane. So right now, I think this is a very weird game, but playing against Quinn is always weird. Quinn will always roam. She'll always like kind of be absent from the lane. So in this time, you just want to take tower planes, try and get as much farm as you can, build up your leads by, you know, taking tower planes here, taking first tower, taking the minion waves and proxying, maybe even going to the Krugs if you can at this point on the side of the map, and just taking every bit of gold you can. And obviously being very wary where Quinn is at all times and where the enemy jungler is, because if you are going to proxy too, it is going to be a bit dangerous if you're left in, like, you know, this situation between the turrets. YouXiaoYou bought his Stride Breaker now. Strybreaker is going to help lock down any range champion. So Ashe, Quinn, these champions can simply not get away. Even Rumble. I think Strybreaker is honestly really, really good in S tier. And with like Asterix and Sojin too, the build is absolutely nuts, by the way. Like, it is so nuts on Renekton. Let me drink my tea a second as well, as I'm watching. How British, right? Seems like there's a fight mid lane. He's gonna go towards mid lane now. He's trying to be first. If he can be there, like, it can make a gigantic difference. Ooh, does he get it? Oh, close. Maybe this is me, but I probably would have empowered Eid. Empowered E is so underrated. Here's the Strybreaker attack working, by the way. So every time there's this like type of champion that's like, you know, out of position, you can just E Strybreaker in and no one can like run away from you. And just in that example there, he just picks off the Quinn. And, you know, he had a really good roam opportunity there. And I do want to go back a bit too, just to like kind of go over the kill potential. So there's a skirmish mid lane. I can't stress like how much I've seen this in low elo too, where like they'll take a tower bot, they go mid lane, like let's say bot lane goes mid, and then jungle appears, and then like let's say fucking mid lane goes there too and top lane. Like everyone just fucking stands there too, like it's an ARAM at 15 minutes as well, or even like 10 minutes before towers are even gone in these cursed elos. Now this game, there is something obviously going on here, and it's a top laner being fed, by the way, 2-0, level 11 at 14 minutes while your support's level 7 and their team is like averaging between 7 to 9. You can just go down here and usually, like, look, 7, 9, 8, level 11 with rank 2 ults. You have Strybreaker ready. This player right here is perfect. Like, looking at the map is great. So YouXiaoYou comes down after he shoves the wave. He's going in because if he can just be there, if he's first to be there compared to like the other top laner, it's just going to mean that like he has, you know, you can use all of his power that he's amassed in the fight and enable his team to actually get ahead in the game. So he sees Rumble coming down. He has Fury. So he decides to ult first. I probably would have WR'd first personally, but there is a bug where if you do that, you can lose Fury. So instead he's going to just RW, so he gets maximum Fury usage. He auto attacks Strybreaker so he can't get away. He could, right now, I would empowered like I would E, auto again, empowered E, then maybe W. Kane is coming, however, with a knock-up, and his team's not really coming. Perhaps that's probably why he didn't go for it. But let's say if Kane wasn't there, it's always better to like do the empowered E there, so you shred like up to 20 to 30 armor based on the points that you have in your abilities, which then you can just go for the kill. Because obviously, let's say if he had less armor there, right? He's practically dead. Yeah, see, 55 armor. If he had that earlier, he would have killed Rumble there. I'm just saying this as like an example too, for like you guys like wondering how else you could like get a kill there. Also, you might ask, why did he go Q into Emax? Well, it's a pretty like traditional and like very standard start for Renekton, and into range champions, being that you can't really W often, just being able to go EQ to have sustain in the lane and be able to have push and then get to these scenarios is going to matter a lot more than having a W that comes in more frequently. So if you're kind of wondering why he did that, that's basically the reason. Dragon's coming up. In terms of trying to end the game and like use your macro effectively, you will end up like going mid here. So he goes mid, trying to go towards Dragon, get every Dragon that you can, wait till Baron spawns in 5 minutes. Can take Rift Herald too and just like push it towards mid along the time Baron spawns. So I think next is going Sojin. Sojin would be like absolutely insane here if he could do that. Immediately dies the Quinn in the tower. Crazy. Crazy how that happens. Really greedy. Making mistakes like this will cost you a game too. And a game that I'm going to upload on my YouTube channel is going to feature some big mistakes I made, which nearly lost me a game. And I will feature that very soon too. Also, apologies for that sound. I believe someone followed me as I'm recording a video, so if you're curious, that's kind of why. So here he takes a Herald. It denies bounty. After killing an Italy, they could just go here as well, but Renekton decides to take it himself. So right now, he's just getting this. They can place it somewhere, and they have like a threat of like being able to place it. And with Baron soon coming up, it can be a really good tool in being able to pressure one side of the map while going for Baron. Especially without the TP as well on their team. Having this additional pressure in the side lane can mean like Renekton doesn't have to stress about going another lane. Strybreaker's there, the Ghost. QW, maybe, but doesn't seem to get it there. Norless appears. He may have blown his ult there, but it really doesn't matter, guys, because Renekton, like, with the buffs, is, like, super insane now. Like, in being able to, like, have his ult up more often. And the more cooldown reduction you have, it's basically, like, 40 seconds in a fight, so it's completely insane. He does get caught here, egoing a little bit. Very, interesting. Yeah, so the reason this happened in the first place was he's trying so hard to stop the backs. Now, think of it. This is actually a bit genius of a player, in a way. His whole team's bot side right now. The game is not exactly even, but in a game where it is even and they are sending units top lane to stop you, this gives time for them to do the dragon. Is dragon even up, in fact? I don't think Dragon was up the whole time, by the way, as I'm saying this. I just noticed there's like a timer on the map and it says 70 seconds. Okay. Let's say it isn't up then. Let's just say that if it was up, it would be good. Did they get a pick here? There's a Strybreaker here. They now have pressure to push bot lane and try to get tier 3. Renekton can like just play around and like be a nuisance. However, there's not really much else going on. He's definitely like kind of overstaying his like welcome here, you know, trying too hard. He didn't track where the Ashe was. He didn't think where Nautilus was going to come from. And from that now, it gets caught and ends up dying and giving up his, what's his bounty, I wonder? About to find out. So, 450 gold. So it's like 750 gold, counting base gold, which is 300. So you just gave 750 gold there, which was really bad. And it was to the Quinn. Quinn, it doesn't matter, but let's say if it was Ashe or Rumble, it'd definitely be a big problem here. Giving up bounties is also stronger than you think, by the way, because, look, Quinn just got the bounty, she reset, she's instantly on the map now, and she uses her extra components that she bought, or even an item, to get another kill. So it's like a snowballing effect, right? Like, just like the word snowballing means, it becomes like, if you make one mistake and you keep making them, you're going to amass this, like, really bad, like, you know, downhill spiral of, like, mistakes, and you're going to, like, really throw the game. His team's kind of throwing now. The reason these are happening because the teams took, like, towers so early, they don't know what to do. The whole play right now is, like, playing macro, playing to take objectives, taking the dragons, taking the camps, like, pushing waves, waiting for Baron, and then ending the game off that. But as you can see here, like, the dude, like, die and, like, give up gold, and the enemy's, like, kind of coming back in a way, like, in a small, like, fractional amount. It's just always important to consider, like, how to mitigate not giving that over. If you can learn how to not like throw your leads, you will instantly climb elo, and you'll always be strong enough to carry games too. And on top of that saying as well, they're bot lane right now. They're trying to contest for Dragon. YouXiaoYou will just push top here. He did pick off the Ashe as well a few moments ago. Wasn't really much else to say about that. She just kind of like inted. They took inhib, by the way. Inhib is a timer. So right now, there is 0 resources mid. Because they took the inhib here, that means there is literally 0 income in this lane. Because all the super minions are pushing into their side of the map, and only they can farm it, really. So they get all this extra gold, so it's like, you know, hundreds of gold every wave they're getting, all to which to get their power spike items, and it's giving them XP and gold. There is no gold and XP to be given mid lane, so the only ways that his team can even get that is by going side lanes, or even taking, like, objectives and camps. But in this scenario, you have to go the Baron. If you don't go the Baron, you're wasting time, you're giving time for the enemies to scale on a champion like Rumble, Ashe, all these other champions. So even Quinn, she scales pretty hard. And being that they have like a really early game based comp too, the Renekton, Nidalee, Graves is somewhat of a light in Kaiser, but they don't really hold up entirely too well in these type of games as well, with like the jungle and top picks. I mean, they kind of can, but not exactly against their team. So right now, like, they have to get the Baron if they want to end the game, and I'm sure YouXiaoYou knows that. He picks up the Sojin now. Sojin is very gross. He's able to like just also... I mean, how long did he have this item for actually? So he had it in the last time. So I'm not focusing so much. I'm kind of explaining macro too because the game's in a state where like we're kind of waiting for something to happen. We're kind of explain all these macro choices. And I know a lot of people want to know about macro, so I'm trying to teach it as well. But yeah, anyways... Sojin was also good with Stride Breaker because the additional moon speed he's getting, the AD health, like it's definitely the best bruiser item you can get on Renekton right now. You are very tanky, like very mobile, have a lot of snowballing and stick potential with that. Like look at him too. He's just like going along here. He's trying to like do as much as he can, like to apply pressure. Stride Breaker Kane too, very interesting. Also, the more damage he takes, the more moon speed he gets too, so he's going to be unkiteable. He goes on the wave first for Fury. He's waiting for E. It's back up already. Believe it or not, if he maxed W here, he would have like 4 seconds on, like let's say 5 seconds on W, which is crazy. His team is continuing to throw here. This is what I'm talking about too. His team's making a lot of reckless mistakes, including himself, giving up gold. Okay, he goes over the wall, they're fighting. He has to flash the hook or he dies there. He's carrying away from them so he doesn't end up taking a ton of damage there. Oh no, the exhaust. Oh damn. Really crazy fight by YouXiaoYou, but his team wasn't following up. They were all bot side at the time. He played it as well as he could. That's the most he could do there, but he shouldn't really be looking for these fights at this time. Like, he killed the jungler. They could just rush Baron here because they have no jungle. Like, their support's low, Quinn's low. If I was him, I'd probably be, like, spam pinging the Baron to at least get that off. The only thing they need to worry about is Rumble ult, but his whole team has to reset, like the red team. So they can just go for the Baron if they clear vision. So, yeah. I feel like they should be doing that, in my opinion. So I'm just drinking my tea once again as I'm watching this. Guess we could skip here. So he's choosing to go with Starix third here. Starix is really smart because his whole role is to be like a frontline. It's like to be, you know, a meat shield, try to be in the center of the fight and like disrupt the enemy's game flow. If he like dashes on Ashe in a team fight, like he's on the back line, he can slow everyone. He can also tank all the damage with the Starix. Has Sojin too for extra cooldowns and ways to like play around the fight. Like, it's just a really good item to get here to like survive and just be even more of a threat too. A lot of people think that like Renekton's whole job is to do damage, but even as a bruiser, you already do a lot of damage. The only way is just playing utility and playing it properly, like using empowered E's and power W's. It's all that matters the most. And tanking precisely too. That's a lot of damage. Ends up surviving there. Renekton's gonna go cover now. They should just go Baron. They have 60 seconds for Inhib. That's actually really useful. I actually never know the timer for Inhib spawn, so it's pretty useful here. So they briefly had a rough like phase after taking Inhib, but they've kind of got it back now. This is where like they want to start grouping. He nearly has his Starix. He's going to buy the Ruby Crystal. Gonna go bot now. The perfect macro play would be to either go top as 5, maybe even 4 top, 1 bot. So they need to kind of choose a lane. Like, they need to use this Baron timer effectively, or they're giving even more time for the enemies to, like, get gold and scale. And then it only takes, like, 1 more misplay and they can lose. But judging by the stats of this game, it's already hard for the enemy team to do a lot, but it's never impossible for someone to come back if, you, like, people are playing this way. So it is something, like, I want to teach and, like, tell you guys today and, like, the topic of the video as well. Asterix now, he's going to move towards his team. If he just like plays with his team here, he's literally a raid boss. Like, nobody can kill him. At all. Just watching like closely what's happening. I don't know why they're choosing to go mid like this though. It's really strange gameplay, and I really don't advocate this if you are trying to like improve. But you probably do want to ask why this is happening too. But I'll let this play out first, then I'll like go over why it's like really awkward. What's the blitz? Well, I guess it does brute force mid and win the game. Well, at least they do that, I guess. But let me go back over though why I think it's not the best. Now, maybe this is my mind in playing safe. I have highlighted him being someone that's gonna like you know, play safe, like, you know, trying to play off like certainties. My certainty for like macro is I'll take Minidib and probably dip, but I guess they take inhib here and then they go in. At first, I thought it was already down and they're just running mid, but no, they actually had wave built up. They killed the inhib and then they're pushing. So this is kind of fine, to be honest. I just thought that it was already down or something, and I don't know. You were just better off going into other side lanes and pushing and getting more gold to end the game, but I guess here they're already fed enough and they can just go for the end. So ignore what I just said. I just wasn't sure exactly how it happened, and forgive me, it is very late at night as I'm making this video. So yeah. But with all that said, they ended up just like keep pushing. Renekton's strong enough too to like kind of take on this fight. They already ulted as well, so they have like normal ways to like stop his team from like ending the game. So he goes here, he just tanks all the damage. Really crazy right now as well. He can tank everything. He has so much AD and everything. So overall, it's a pretty good finish. I just kind of misunderstood at the end myself. Well, there's a challenger icon there. Interestingly enough. But yeah, it seems like he was boosting an account though. It's pretty like, it's quite a common thing in China, it seems. Like a lot of people just boost accounts. Like I think he like gets accounts from his viewers and he just boosts them. So, you know, if you're a Chinese player and you want to help YouXiaoYou, I guess you could do that. Not that I advocate it. But yeah, that's mainly the game against Quinn. I don't think it highlighted entirely like the main ways of shutting down Quinn, but it was definitely good at like playing around your jungle, playing macro like effectively as a top laner, playing like safe as well. Definitely, you know, I think he could do better, but you know, I think as well, judging on the game as well, I think he did great still. I think compared to me, I probably would have died at least a few times, you know, like a moron. But he played really safe. He got his team like ahead. He played, you know, under the way of just being able to scale. Like again, a lot of people are under the conception that, like, if you don't kill your laner, the game will just, you know, be over. And he's clearly proving, like, you know, otherwise to that, where he can just play to farm, scale, and end up just being a menace anyways. And that's why YouXiaoYou is also a really highly respected Renekton main within the Renekton mains community. But yeah, with all that said, though, this is the review on the Quinn matchup this game. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, make sure to comment, and also subscribe too if you want to see more content. But with all that being said, thank you all for watching today, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out, and have a good one.